Hey everybody, this is Brad Dyke reaching out to you, and today I'm going to do a little bit of a different kind of platform, and if you don't want to listen to it, that's fine. Just turn off the video session and go on to the next technical, whatever you want to read. But this is about game simulations for sandboxes. Now, if some of you like EVE Online and some of the other big sandbox environments, some are combat-based, some are based on economies, some are based on both, some are based on exploration and discovery, and so on and so on. But the key thing here is to understand what you're working with here, right? And in this case, excuse me, sandboxes have a little bit of a problem these days. Computer game sandboxes have a giant problem, actually. They're stuck. As a friend of mine would say, "What do you mean stuck?" And I said, well, you know, when you have the same genres you had in the 1970s, there's something quite not right there yet. Okay, so what am I talking about? Well, let's say Sons of the Empires, let's say EVE Online, you know, these different gigantic and not so big style sandbox environments. Starbase is a great example. Another one is Undiscovered Country, which is more of a planetary thing. The point is, we are stuck in a certain mode. And my particular sandbox that I'm playing with right now is X4 Foundations, because I can actually build a universe that works just like my IT operations, which is really cool, actually. That's why I keep playing the game. But the challenge in that process is that we're dealing with a particular style issue here, and that is fixed assets. That's what I call them. And what fixed assets are and should be are planets, suns, solar systems, and so on. But the truth of the matter is that is not the case. The truth of the matter is the nature of space is everything is moving, including your star bases. So, you know, when you pick a spot in a game and you start to construct a service yard, what if I just want to pick it up and move it, right? I want to move my star base from here over to there, and I don't want it so easily found, and I want them to kind of, you know, work it trying to find my star base before they blow it up or before they try to invade it, you know, and so on and so on. So what ends up happening is we end up making the mistake of basically setting the environment up so you have these fixed points, and it's an immediate end of a simulation. Eventually, that's the key thing here, because it's the inevitable end, right? You have kind of already limited yourself. So imagine a different kind of version of the sandbox where you go out into space. You have what's called a key transponder indicator, that which is put on your star base, and your star base is just like anything out in space. It's moving, and it's cruising around, and it's doing its thing, and you are there to put it where you think it's best. So, you know, a starbase in an environment should probably be able to maneuver toward resources as necessary, maneuver out of danger, maneuver close to a facility or a placement you want to defend, pull away from something you don't want to defend, reconstruct a starbase, transform the starbase into a mobile style life for your habitat environments and things like that. The key thing here is understanding the nature of how you want to go about setting the parameters, because in outer space you don't have locked-in star bases that stay there forever. I know I'm kind of harping on star bases a little bit, but if you spent $500 million on a star base on space credits, which is a heck of a lot more valuable than US dollars, you'd understand that those resources are defendable. Same thing with manufacturing complexes, same thing with mining facilities. Why can't you land something on a planet, mine, pick it up, go to the other side of the planet, mine the other side of the planet, and so on and so on? A static target is just that, a target. So, with that, I kind of go out there and say, hey guys, think a little bit beyond the basics. Look at everything you have out there that is in association and in support of your environment, right? Look at whatever it is. If it's static, maybe we should say, hey, I want to make it enabled so I can pick that up, fly it over here for a cost, and put it over there. Or I want to tear down this and reformat it into something else. Opposed to just being blown up. And then you got to go out and mine a bunch more rocks and stuff like that. It's just basically very straightforward in the nature of how, you're doing this process of, working and getting comfortable with really wanting to take your your sandbox to this whole new level. And the whole key thing here is you understand that as you're going to and want to work in a sandbox, that sandbox should be able to do exactly what you want it to do, but not have limitations like the limitations that are set in computer games. So, and I'm not really saying that you have to do that for, I don't know, if you're into battles and stuff like that. Definitely the bases. Hey, you got to be able to pick them up and move them. That's critical, super critical. Resources move, and so should your bases. And reinvesting a star base from one place to another place, and yeah, it might take you 20 rounds to get it over there eventually, but two things. One, your base is in transit, right? Or your resource pool is in transit. It's hard to find when it's moving from point A to point Z. And so with that being the case, you're kind of putting yourself in a really brand new like style sandbox experience. And so I recommend that if you do sandbox and you feel like you're stuck in a rut, because I can see it out there, even the heavy hitters like EVE Online, all they can do is more of the same thing in a more spectacular format. But imagine if jump points could be relocated. If you're familiar with some of the latest technical novels that are out there, they're talking about transcendental style wormhole placements that move facilities and jump points from one place to another on a kind of like a semi-rotational pattern, because the universe is always moving. So to have a fixed state in the universe is extraordinarily unheard of. So, things like that. Why not? Understanding that the universal drift that exists and the gravitational waves that move things in our universe around, they're absolutely a whole new aspect to gaming that you never had before. Now, for all of you heavy hardcore pirates and military mindsets that like to do the battle engagements and things like that, my suggestion on your front is, have you ever played Battleship? You see, the cool thing about Battleship, it's never the same, because they put it somewhere where you didn't think you would figure they would have it sitting. Find that ship before he finds your ship. It's true. For those who are really great defenders, that works really to your advantage, because if you moved your starbase and you put a fake starbase there you go, and it basically explodes full of fighters and cruisers and all this stuff, they come out and after the fleet that was going to try to destroy the base. And you've caught them shorthanded, unprepared. They were preparing to fire on a fairly unarmed facility. Now they're dealing with a fully armed military force. That's just some ideas, guys and gals out there. Think about it. I still enjoy X4. I think it offers the greater spectrum of interest because of its back and forth. But, excuse me. Sometimes I will say that yes, you do need to have a couple of fixed points but those fixed points should always be planets. And let me tell you something about planetary natures. We're not doing well at all. If you really want to know the truth about most sandboxes, even the ones like engineers, space engineers, right? There are a couple of others like space engineers where you do a lot of interaction on the planet as well as you do exterior of the planet. What they don't do well at all are established communities, established facilities, established governments, basically something more than just a blank planet. Getting attacked by drones from nowhere, from point A to point A, from one tiny little fort from way over on the far side, it's not very practical. But what if you were in a whole spectrum of planets, including metropolitan planets that had a lot of development on their surfaces and could provide not only a whole new way of combat and engagement, but also intricacies, economies, and so on, that which you can ingest, opposed to just mining, building, constructing, and flying. It's something else to think about. Anyways, I'm just an old guy. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but it is kind of frustrating when I know that once I hit a certain peak, that's it. We're done. Start the game over, build in a different way, and try a different format and so on. So anyway, this is Brad Dyke signing off. God bless, and you guys have a great weekend.